Hi seniors, we're starting day 2 of Unit 3. We're looking at demand shifters. The do now is a quick review of yesterday's exercise, looking at demand schedules and graphing a demand schedule on a demand curve. It should look something like this. This is page 3 in the unit packet. Big question for today, what causes demand to change? We're going to be looking at different scenarios and then identifying, drawing, and explaining how demand changes. And so today we're going to look at 6 different ways that demand can change. The standards we're working with, this one ties in with today's exercises, tie in with the second standard on shifters, demand shifters. 2 new key terms, we'll define these together, look at examples of them. And yesterday we did this graphic organizer. Today we want to fill out the 6 non-price factors, and so these are the 6 non-price factors, and we're going to look at some examples of each of these. This is also in chapter 5.3 in your text. Feel free to pause the video at any time and take note of these concepts. When we talk about demand shifts, we're talking about a change in demand, not a change in quantity demanded, and it's going to occur when we have a demand increase or decrease at all prices, not a specific price. And so if we have a demand increase, it's simply a shift to the right. A demand decrease is a shift to the left, and this is what it will look like on the graph. We have our original demand curve. This is D1. We have an arrow that comes out from that curve, and we show our new demand. The opposite would happen if we had a demand decrease as well. Looking at a change in the price of substitutes, this is our first demand shifter. Substitutes are those goods or services that take the place of one another, and so we buy one or the other. We typically don't buy both of them at the same time. And the thing is, if there's a change in the price of those substitutes, it's going to affect the demand for the other things. So consumers react to a rise in the price of one good by consuming less of that good and more of the substitute good. Take note of these examples, and we'll do some graphing with that in just a minute. A change in complements is similar, but we're talking about goods or services that are used together. So spaghetti and tomato sauce, you buy them both together, you don't buy one or the other one. And so if there's a change in the price of one, it affects the demand for the other one. And likewise, take note of this, and we'll look at some examples and graphs in a moment. Here's one of those practice exercises. If we have the price of Flamin' Hot Country Cheetos, it increases to $9 per bag. Draw a graph, show what happens to the demand for regular Cheetos. The first thing I'm going to note is that there are 2 different products, Flamin' Hot Crunchy Cheetos and regular Cheetos. And I want to identify the relationship between these two. And I should identify that I'm not going to buy both of them. I'm going to buy one or the other. And so the relationship is that they are both substitutes. And so now that I know that they are substitutes, I can graph that and identify my demand curve there as D1, and I'm graphing the demand for regular Cheetos. So this is the original demand for regular Cheetos, but then what happens because of that price change of the other one? If the other one increases, we don't want to buy that one. We want to buy more regular Cheetos. So as a result, we're going to have a demand increase, and we show that with an arrow to the right. We draw another line, and we label it D2. And the explanation is going to be where we talk about a change in the price of substitutes. One more example. Again, we've got 2 items, Flamin' Hot Country Cheetos and bottled water. The relationship between the two, they're not substitutes. We don't buy one or the other one, but we buy these together. If we buy Cheetos, we're going to want to wash them down with some water. And so we draw our graph, label our axes, and if the price of Cheetos increases, then we don't want to buy Cheetos. Therefore, we're not going to buy bottled water either. So we're going to have a demand decrease, and we'll label it D2. And the explanation is that we have a change in the price of complements, things that go together. Change in income, you can pause the video and take note of these other non-price factors that affect demand. Change in income, number of consumers, tastes and preferences, and then consumer expectations. I want to pause on this one because this is where students get tripped up several times. We're thinking about future price changes, and so thing I want to point out here is we're talking about an expected future rise in the price affects our demand right now. And so if we think the price is going to go up in the future, we're going to increase our demand right now. If we think the price is going to go down in the future, it means that we're going to wait and our demand is going to go down now and we're going to wait to buy it until later. So a couple more examples to reinforce these shifters. You pause the video, do it on your own, and then resume, and I'm going to go over the answer. So here we go. We always begin by labeling our axes, P and Q, draw our initial demand curve, and we've got two products here, Pete's Pizzeria and Pizza Heaven. They both provide pizzas, but Pete's Pizzeria goes up in price, so we don't want to buy Pete's Pizzeria, so that means we're going to increase our demand for Pete's Heaven, and that's demand 2. And the next one. Consumers gain weight by eating jelly beans. What kind of change will happen in the market for jelly beans? So we do the same thing, draw our demand curve, our original demand curve, price and quantity. And then if consumers gain weight, that doesn't sound very good. Boy, I don't want to eat jelly beans. That sounds like I'm not going to prefer jelly beans anymore. So that sounds like I'm not going to demand jelly beans if that's what happens. And so that's going to create a demand decrease. People are not going to want to buy jelly beans anymore. And the result, the explanation here, is a change in tastes or preferences. So there you have it. We did those examples today in class. You've got more opportunities to practice in Demand Practice Worksheet 1. As always, reach out to me if you have any questions, and good luck.